Okay, so what I have here is I've got a Revit model opened in 2024. This is what we call the Parallax sample model. It's just something that we use for doing demos and whatnot. If we select almost any object in the model, whether it's a roof or a floor, you'll notice that there are a series of shared parameters. So we have things like assembly comments, assembly installation, item current revision, include in site, and so on. Primarily the ones I was looking at are on the wall category, which there's a few more parameters there, but you can tell which ones are our shared parameters because they're basically all in capital letters. Okay, now for this demo, the export to Navisworks that I ran was from the add-ins ribbon, external tools, Navisworks 2024. I'll do a second one just so that we're doing it live on the demo. Before we run it, we'll go into the options. After our email exchange, I've turned on pretty much all of the options. Converting parts, but there aren't any in the model. Convert element IDs. We want to convert all parameters, of course. Convert element properties is on. We're not converting any linked files. I did turn on room as attribute. We're not dividing the file into levels, and we're exporting the current view. We turned on exporting the room geometry. So that's all set. And now we'll go and export this as number 002. Now, while we're waiting for that to export, I'm going to flip to Navisworks, and I'm going to just append a file. This is from several years ago. So what's important to know about this is none of our shared parameters have changed over the years. So this is an NWC that was exported, I think, in Revit 2017 or 2018. And if my selection is on first object, when I select a wall, basically, we have the basic wall selected. You'll see that under element, a number of these shared parameters are here. There's the assembly base, the assembly height. The reconciliation parameter is a little different because it's not in the current model, but you'll see that all of our parameters in the capital letters do exist, including under Revit type. There's then what we call the requirements and the includes parameters as well. So they're all there and they're all exporting. Now I'm going to edit undo to before we appended that file so that we're just in a blank file. I guess I'll just do a new one, make life easier. And we'll go check on our export. Now the export appears to have finished. So we'll go back into Navisworks now and we'll do append. And now we'll go to our new document that we just made, which was 002. And we will append this one. Now we'll do the same thing where we'll make sure that we're on first object selection. And here you'll see if I select a roof, for instance, under element, none of those parameters exist. They don't exist under element properties either. And under Revit type, none of the includes or requirements parameters are there. They're not there under roof type, and I've basically gone through all of these, and they're not there. Now the weird thing is, occasionally if I select a particular roof, if I go to custom, then you'll see include site shows up. Now what it seems like is happening here is this is a roof object where include site has been set to yes. So in this case it seems to show up, but in this parameter it should still be there. It should just be set to 0 or no, which is what it did in the old version of the file. But we're not even seeing this consistently in terms of, like if I go to the wall objects, I would expect all of those parameters to be here, and they're just not. So I don't know what's changed. And again, we can even do it in the same side-by-side document. If we append the other file again, it was in 16021. And we'll just say, let's pull in the core and shell because that's where the majority of walls are. So there's the same model again. And if we select basically any of these things, you'll see, so reconciliation item verified is set to 0. So that's a yes/no parameter that is set to no. But then also, if we go to Revit type, you'll see include restroom accessories is filled in. And I'm not sure, I forget where the other ones were. So all of this showed up, by the way, because we typically use an add-in called Properties Plus, which shows us just the parameters that we care about. If I figure out where that add-in is. There it is. So in Properties Plus, basically, we have all the parameters that we care about set up in advance. So if I click on wall, you see all of the includes down here. You see the phase created and whatnot. Only the parameters that we basically care about. But in the new models, none of the parameters are there, with the exception of the out-of-the-box Autodesk ones. So I'm not really clear on what's happening, or if there's something else we need to be doing differently. I guess one other experiment that we can try is let's go in and let's select a bunch of these objects. We'll just select the walls up top and this one roof, and let's change some of their parameters. So assembly comments will write note, and then current revision will write CD 100%. And then include in site will mark as yes. So just in looking at that with the testing, I'm wondering if the issue is something has to be filled in. Now, the weird thing about that is the includes are all currently null. They're not filled in, but item type tag is filled in. And that's a great example, is we always want item type tag because it's a shared parameter, because that's basically our type mark. So let's go to add-ins again, external, Navisworks 24. We'll call this export number 3. The settings are all the same, of course. We haven't changed anything there. Okay, it's writing file 003. It's all done. Let's go back to Navisworks now. We'll go new file. We'll leave Properties Plus open. Let's go append. Let's go back to desktop, fixies, Navisworks 003. Let's append. So you'll see here, again, this walls object does not... Interesting. Okay, so it has put them in custom. And now there are type custom as well. Okay, so it appears they've moved. Now, the weird thing about that is I'm not sure why they're not showing up. Ooh. Let's see. So here we have item type tag, for instance, exists. And now what I'm wondering is maybe they are there, but has Navisworks moved them? So as an example, reconciliation item verified is not a base level parameter. It's an element parameter. Now these are Revit types. That makes sense. And this makes sense as well. That's a Revit type. But why is it not showing up? So if we go find item type, okay, so what's interesting is they've moved category. And there is current revision and instance group member. So these are, okay. So it appears like this is I don't want to call it a perfect storm, but what's happening is I was looking in custom. I was looking under element and Revit type because that's where they've always been before. But it looks like at some point in the last few years, they've now migrated to custom and type custom. And I wasn't seeing them there because null values are now not getting exported, which I do think has always been the case. That's getting compounded by the fact that they're not showing up in Autodesk's add-in Properties Plus. And I'm betting that's because this is now considered a different parameter, which is a little troubling, but not the end of the world. And there it is. Okay, so at least now, in doing this testing for export, we at least know what's going on. They are exporting. They've moved category in the properties palette in Navisworks, and because of that, I wasn't seeing them, and a few other things have changed. Well, that's fun. So it sounds like now we have them. Cool. Thanks for that.